I want some coffee.
Yeah.
The Basement Dwellers podcast is brought to you by Player One Coffee. If you're a coffee drinker and a dedicated gamer, then Player One Coffee is your best choice. No other brand is made by the very individuals who know exactly what it's like to need that boost of stamina and mental acuity when battling it out in cyberspace. Order your coffee today and watch your mental prowess soar when competing or playing your favorite video games. Plus, order your Player One Coffee through our affiliate link, and not only will you receive 5% off of your first order, you'll also help support our show in the process.
Press start to continue.
They are those who live in the shadows, who feed upon Doritos and Mountain Dew. They take comfort in their dark habitats as they watch reruns of sci-fi shows long past. They are the Basement Dwellers.
Show me what you got.
So say we all. So say we all. So say we all.
Indeed.
Yes. This is a fertile land and we will thrive. We will rule over all this land and we will call it this land.
Make it so. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy far and sun.
I want to believe.
We better get back because it'll be dark soon and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Basement Dwellers, a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to all activities most enjoyed by those who spend their time in the deepest, darkest, and dankest of basements everywhere. I'm your host, Wes Tanner, and tonight we're rolling dice and geeking our hearts out. We're going to get into some nerdy news, followed up by another round of a game we like to call Versus, and then finish the evening learning a bit about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm joined as always by my fellow basement dwellers, Chris, Drew, Ethan, Ron, and Tucci. What up, guys?
Hey, hey.
Hello.
Well, we had some technical difficulties before we actually started or restarted the show. So Thanksgiving, guys. Did you guys do anything special besides just eat? I know, Ron, it was your birthday.
Yes, it was my birthday.
It was your birthday. Happy birthday.
I love it when my birthday lands on Thanksgiving so much.
Why is that? Because I feel like you would get like turkey and cake, and that seems pretty awesome to me.
See, you
or
would
turkey
think
cake.
but that never did happen.
Oh,
That's
see,
never
that's the letdown.
See, we
Like,
need to make that happen for him now.
We're doing
Right.
now. Let's mail him a turkey and a cake in the same box.
I agree. I
Yes.
think that's a good solution.
But I don't like cake. So
What about a turkey shake?
Oh, what about turkey pie?
there we go.
Turkey and cake flavored beer?
There we go.
Ooh.
So is it like, because it's a holiday, like nobody gives a shit about your birthday? Because that's my birthday every fucking year.
Exactly. When I was younger, that definitely happened like all the time. Whenever my birthday landed on Thanksgiving, it's like, here's your birthday turkey. Like, fuck you, where's the presents?
Yeah,
I know how this works.
Presents
You're not
and turkey.
scamming me.
my birthday's on the 4th of July, so I always got the they're doing fireworks for your birthday. It's like, no, they're not.
Yeah,
You know what? That probably felt really cool the first time it happened.
Right, but did you still get presents?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, then
but
kiss my ass.
no, but I didn't get an elaborate fucking dinner every time.
That's fair.
You know, I
don't know.
feel like you're failing to understand here that the turkey was the present.
Oh, really? Like, you get to eat for another day.
You
Right.
should have just taken the turkey.
There were
that
no
was
extra
black.
presents. It was turkey.
Okay, so Black Friday or Cyber Monday, did you guys get anything cool?
I picked up the I forget what it's called. Is it the Steam machine or like the Steam box?
The Link?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Link, Steam Link. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up picking that up because I was like, $5, sure.
Yeah, that
How
was
does
a
it work?
crazy deal.
Haven't gotten it yet. I think they're like processing all the orders and they're all going to just ship at one time. But
Oh, yeah.
so I mean, they're normally what, like $30?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I actually got myself a PS4 finally.
Yeah.
See, you already messed up.
Years
You should have
later.
just got yourself a PC.
Oh,
PC
no, we have
Master
a
Race.
PC Master Race in the house.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what gaming PC are you going to get for the price of a PS4?
Fair.
Especially for how cheap they were this year. They were like $200
Well,
bucks.
here's the funny part, and I told you guys the story about it. Because what was it? GameStop was supposed to go open at like 4:00 on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So we're sitting in line, and 4:00 is like it's 4:00. They're about to open the doors. Guy comes out. Oh, we're out of these 1 terabyte PS4s for $199. Sorry.
Before they even
So I
opened?
ended up- before they even opened, yeah.
What, were they only given like 1 or 2 and then like employees bought them?
Yeah, my guess is the employees bought them.
I'm thinking
That's still
employees and or online deals. I don't know what happened, but I ended
Yeah.
up getting mine the next morning at like 6 a.m. from Target, and it was like the last one of 2 left. So
Oh, shit.
geez.
yeah,
Nice.
but I did go
Well,
back to
you got
GameStop.
one.
I did go back to GameStop to buy like 5 different games and my year-long PS Plus subscription.
What games
Nice.
you get?
I got Mortal Kombat X, Fallout 4,
Nice.
Witcher 3,
Woohoo.
Good.
Complete Edition, by the way.
Nice.
Doom,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
and
Hell yeah.
the Game of the Year edition of Overwatch.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
That's a
And
good haul,
with
man.
that dude, with that and the subscription, it was only like $140.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right?
That's a good deal.
Oh yeah. dude.
I
got
always
Rainbow
plan.
Six Siege.
Oh, you got Rainbow Six?
Yeah. I suck at it, but it's pretty
I
sweet.
say there's a pretty steep learning curve in that game.
Hell yes, there is.
I've seen some crazy videos.
Like I'm just doing the tutorials, and it's like lead around this corner, lead around the corner, and you get shot in the face.
Drew's like, I don't know if I can do that.
Well, then I was like, okay, so the learning curve just means don't start on realistic, start on baby mode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pacifier mode.
Work your way up,
Basically,
man.
and I'm still getting my ass kicked.
I just always plan to be really broke around Black Friday, and it's gone really well. It's gone really well the last, since I've had a job. So it's great.
You mean
Right.
to keep you from buying stuff, or like is that post buying stuff?
Post buying.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like I've never actually gone Black Friday shopping like super early in the morning.
Oh
That's
fuck.
because you're smart.
Right? The only thing I've ever bought on Black Friday was, well, I guess 2 things now, was that Steam Link and then like a 32-inch TV, but that was like later in the day after they sold all the crappy, like, oh, here's this crazy off-brand 50-inch TV for $30.
Hey, Westinghouse is a good brand, okay?
But
If not before 6 a.m., it doesn't count. Sorry, bud.
oh, that's fine. I don't care. I don't feel like getting stabbed over a pair of pants.
Now it's time to see what's up in the world of nerdy news.
Okay, gonna get the ball rolling with some more Star Wars related news. Via GameRant.com, everyone is fucking pissed at EA. After the backlash they received from their customers regarding the pay-to-win elements of Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars fans have started a petition now that encourages Lucasfilm to revoke EA's license to the Star Wars franchise.
Oh, damn.
You know what?
Tell me
I'm
it's on
gonna
like
say
change
this.
it out.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It
I'm
is.
gonna say this. I hope this happens to every microtransaction game out there
Yeah.
that is a pay-to-win service. Fuck you. I hope this happens to all of you.
I know, man. The market has spoken. So far, the petition has reached nearly 19,000 signatures out of the 25,000 that are intended. In the change.org description, the petition's author, John Hunt, reaches out to fans claiming that EA's usage of the Star Wars license in the last 4 years is proof that they honestly don't care about the gameplay experience or content, but instead prefer to rush out the next release and milk as much money from consumers as possible. I can't agree more, honestly. So
I'm signing it right now.
Yeah.
It's up to 53,000.
Oh, is it?
And it's climbing.
Oh shit! They only wanted 25. That's great.
Right. Well,
I'm signing it.
Well, another thing that I heard was that EA had put out a statement being, "Well, we heard you guys and we listened, and we're actually shutting off the feature to be able to pay for these things, the pay to win things, until we can really solidify, make sure that they're up to snuff in the way that you guys want them to work and the way we want them to work."
I like your EA voice.
You're welcome.
Very official.
Yeah.
Being in management, you learn how to talk like an asshole.
Yeah.
So, more in the realm of pissed off gamer news, via Kotaku.com, this past Friday, Bungie announced plans to change Destiny 2's experience system after players discovered that it was rigged against them. On Saturday, that's this past weekend, by the way, hardcore Destiny 2 players found that their experience sliders were moving more slowly than before. I'm assuming how that reads is they were moving even slower than they were before they were changed. So on Sunday, the studio sent out a tweet saying the Destiny 2 API has yet to be adjusted to reflect the recent in-game changes to earned XP. We are working on an update to address this discrepancy. The correct value to earn an additional level is 160,000 XP. In the past, players had used said API, which allows third-party apps to interface directly with game, to determine that you'd level up at 80,000 XP. In other words, it seems like the number has doubled. The sketchiness of the experience system has frustrated players, but perhaps most infuriating for the community is Bungie's unwillingness to address so many of the complaints that have been simmering in the 3 months since Destiny 2 came out. Everyday hardcore Destiny players have put together long lists of gripes about the lack of meaningful endgame content, the inadequacy of the Iron Banner PvP event, and the frustrating dependence on tokens for loot rewards, and much more. That is really disappointing, because I know a lot of people were really excited for that game, and I don't know, like, it seems like in the news, it seems like, I don't know, maybe this is being insensitive, but it seems like once something happens with one game or one person or company, a lot of people try to cash in on the outrage. It just seems like, I don't know, like the shit is hitting the fan with all these gaming companies now.
Right.
Moving on, via Polygon.com, Epic Games is suing more Fortnite cheaters, and at least one of them is a minor. I don't know if you guys were aware of this.
I actually just heard about this today and looked into it. Epic is actually suing people who make the cheats, not necessarily the people who are cheating.
Well, no, they're suing both, actually.
I understand that the reason the 14-year-old is being sued because of YouTube copyright claims.
Well, here, let me read the story real quick. In October, Polygon learned that Epic Games had filed suit against 2 individuals for making and using software that allows players to cheat in the game Fortnite. Since then, the publisher and developer has filed suit against at least 9 more individuals, both in the US and overseas. Unsurprisingly, at least one of them is a minor, and we know this because a new and unusual document has been entered into the court record, a sternly worded and legally savvy note from his mom.
Oh,
yeah, his mom wrote a note.
She thinks it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're wasting all this time and energy on a minor. What was it? It was the DMCA doesn't say anything about minors being affected by it, so it should be null and void. But the DMCA doesn't mention anything about minors anywhere. It just basically says, if you agree to our terms, you can download our stuff.
Yeah. It's one of those. The rest of it says throughout their lawsuit, Epic repeatedly points out how cheating breaks a legal agreement called the End User License Agreement, or EULA, by Epic's reasoning that puts these individuals at odds with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, and makes them eligible for a similar fine of up to $150,000 per incident per case. That's pretty fucking crazy for something to do with a video game.
I looked up more about this kid. He has a YouTube channel, and he constantly streams him basically cheating at Fortnite. Like, that's his entire channel.
I like the idea that he's sitting downstairs and he just goes, "Mom, we're getting sued."
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Where's the fucking meatloaf?
I need you to write a note.
I mean, just imagine they're sitting down and having dinner, him and his mom, and like someone knocks at the door and the mom walks and answers the door, and they're like, "Are you blah blah blah?" And she's like, "Oh, no, that's my son." And he's like, "Okay, well, here you go. You've been served." And he just walks out. What did my minor do? Like,
Yeah.
I like to just add to that.
Cheated at a video game?
Add to that. Please come up to the door. Yes, ma'am. Are you Vag Smasher 23? No, that's my son.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Oh God.
That's my 12-year-old son.
Yeah. So
awesome.
moving away a little bit from the negative news, via GameRant.com, the title reads, "Has the Uncharted movie found its Nathan Drake?" And
No.
yeah, I know. Spoiler alert.
No.
For years, the Uncharted movie has struggled to get off the ground. Mark Wahlberg, of all people, was attached to star as the treasure hunter Nathan Drake for about 5 years. But once director Sean Levy came aboard the project, he decided to go with a younger actor. Oh my God. Opting to cast Spider-Man Homecoming's Tom Holland in the lead role.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Very few details have been revealed about the film since the unconfirmed reports of Holland's casting, but the star recently teased his involvement using social media. My best case scenario with this is, first off, I'll preface this by saying that Tom Holland is actually pretty fucking great. Everything that I've seen him in has been fantastic. But I think everyone had this idea of Nathan Drake being, or I should say Nathan Fillion being Nathan Drake, or even Bradley Cooper. I heard that one, and that'd be a good one too. But Tom Holland, I mean, the best case scenario is that he's involved in a flashback when Nathan Drake is a kid, because I can see that.
I say, yeah, if you played like the latest one, if they do like that, like where they origin story kind of deal,
yeah,
like he does resemble young Nathan Drake. I'll give him that. But.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, what's crazy is you could literally just get the voice actor for Nathan Drake, Nolan North.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like Nathan Drake, and the game developers do this a lot, where they'll get the voice actor and they're like, "Oh, well, he kind of fits the role." Like if you look up a picture of Nolan North.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like
definitely.
I don't know. It's just stuff like that that's crazy to me. But yeah, I don't necessarily see Tom Holland as being like the rugged explorer type.
I cannot even fathom them thinking that he can pull off like the modern version of Nathan Drake. Like it has to be a flashback. Or a I don't know if it said it in this article, but it's rumored to be kind of a prequel to the events of the games.
Okay.
So it could very well be that this whole movie is going to be a young Nathan Drake
origin story.
Yeah, but you know what? I really hope they don't do that because, I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather them literally jump, like the beginning of the movie is almost like the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And then everything leading up to that is like pseudo flashback.
Yeah.
Because I
So
want to
basically how all the games are structured, though.
Yeah, like I want to jump into the movie and literally be like, "Holy crap, shit's happening!"
Yeah.
And then it goes 48 hours early.
Yeah, yeah. I want like the beginning to Indiana Jones, but like with Nathan Drake. So
for sure.
In upcoming movie project news via Polygon.com, James Franco's X-Men spin-off will be a hard R, in the vein of Logan and Deadpool. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet. Actor James Franco.
Wait, what?
Yep, I'm getting there. Actor James Franco affirms he's working with longtime X-Men producer Simon Kinberg on an quote-unquote X-Men property that will reflect newer adult-oriented superhero movies like Deadpool and Logan. Franco told the Hollywood Reporter that he couldn't divulge too much information about the role, but reiterated that Kinberg was involved with the project and that the direction of the movie would encroach upon a new ground of superhero storytelling. Franco added he wanted the movie to push boundaries but still be entertaining for original fans of the character. Previous reports suggested that Franco will step into the role of Jamie Madrox, better known by his superhero pseudonym Multiple Man. Nowhere near as popular as Wolverine or Storm, Multiple Man still managed to grace the big screen with a brief appearance in the 2006 X-Men movie, X-Men: The Last Stand. I don't even remember if I saw that movie. I don't know the character. I don't even know that I'm excited about it, but, you know, any more R-rated superhero movies, I guess I'm on board with. So
I was just going to say, does this anything to do with the New Mutants movie that's coming out?
Are you talking about like the horror movie looking one?
Yeah, because they said they were actually going to do a trilogy of those horror movies.
I'm not sure.
But they were all X-Men based.
As far as I know, this one, they haven't even done much more than just talk about it, so I don't know. Last but not least, in the vague news section, publisher Tencent announced that it and developer Bluehole are working to port PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds to smartphones, with the mobile version to be released first in China. I really don't know how that's going to work out. Tencent has yet to announce a release date or provide information regarding any plans to launch the game in areas outside of China. Additional details about the port will be revealed, quote, in the near future. So there's your vague news for you.
Yeah, it would be interesting because a lot of Chinese apps and phone games, by government standards, have to have, I guess I would just put it bluntly, communist propaganda.
Oh yeah, yep, they do.
Socialist propaganda, and basically, like, if there's too much violence or not enough of the propaganda, then you'll get sued.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break, and when we return, we will get into another round of a little game we like to call Versus.
The weather outside's fucking cold, and all the games you're playing are getting old. So since you've no place to go, listen to our show, subscribe to the show, review our show on iTunes.
The Basement Dwellers podcast is now available on the following platforms: iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and SoundCloud. So subscribe to the show and make sure to leave us a review. Happy holidays, nerds. So apparently this last minute idea for our last show really seemed to hit it off with everyone. So we're going to go ahead and bring it back for this episode as well. In this little game we like to call Versus, we match up any two fictional characters and argue about who would win in a fight. With the help of all of you, we have expanded our list considerably compared to the initial draft, and we are going to consult with Norman, our Discord dice bitch, to decide the matchup from that list. So I need you guys to, someone give me a D20 roll. 2 of them.
Oh, snap, we're up to the 20s now?
Oh, yeah.
You got 7?
7.
That's Norman for you.
7 and what?
I'm working on it.
No, it's a mirror match.
It's 7 versus 7.
No.
Norman, you're garbage.
I don't know. 7 wins.
Fucking, okay. 2? Okay, let's see here. Where is that?
Gotta hate Norman.
Okay, you guys ready for this? So tonight's epic matchup is between Malcolm Reynolds and Fox Mulder.
Ooh.
Shit, I have to look up both of these people. Hold on.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Are you serial?
All right. So Fox
Somebody
Mulder,
block his mic.
Yeah, goddamn.
Fox Mulder before he was abducted or after he was abducted by aliens?
Ooh, that's a good question.
No, okay, that's fair. We'll say after.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
the X-Files guy. Okay.
Jesus
The X-Files
Christ,
guy.
Tucci. God damn
All
it.
right.
Then what about the other one, Tucci? Who's the other one?
What's his name again?
Malcolm Reynolds.
Malcolm Reynolds.
Malcolm.
I feel like Tucci should go sit in the corner for 5 minutes.
He's the guy from AC/DC, right?
Oh shit, Malcolm Reynolds. Yeah, I know who Malcolm Reynolds is. From
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Yep.
I love
Okay.
Firefly.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
I don't do names. Okay.
Okay.
Names
All right.
are
That's
my
fair.
strong suit.
All right.
If we just
That's
said the
fair.
main guy, would that work?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, the captain.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Captain Mal.
Yep. So
Big dick swinger. Yeah.
tonight's matchup is between Malcolm Reynolds and Fox Mulder. Chris, you did such a wonderful job setting up the scene last time. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you this time again. So,
All right.
All right. Here we go.
So, it's set on Earth, like our Earth, right? And it's just as the alien ship is leaving Earth with Fox Mulder in it, because he's been abducted because he knows too much. And en route to wherever the ship is going, the crew of the Firefly board the ship to get whatever cargo that they've been hired to get.
Excuse me, Chris.
Yeah.
I believe you mean the Serenity.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
We'll just correct you without any mercy. It's
Yep.
okay.
Thank you. Story of my life. Anyway, so the crew of the Serenity, asterisk. They're on board. Reynolds says to everyone, well, go on, find everything. I'll be this way. And he goes that way. Where he comes across Mulder coming out of stasis, because obviously that's how it has to be set up. You can't fight a frozen man.
Because
And
reasons.
then they're there. And Mulder has powers. I can't remember what they are because it's been so long since I've seen X-Files.
He doesn't really have powers.
He does in this universe. All right.
Okay.
There's your scene. Go.
Okay. All right, guys. Who's got their first guess? You know how this works. Drew, I think you're biting at the bit, man. What are you thinking?
Seeing as I know more about Firefly and X-Files, I have to go with Malcolm Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
Captain.
Why?
He has a ship. That's why he's a captain.
Well, the logic of that is so simple.
I love
Captain
it. No,
school.
I was starting, and then Ron just why?
That's because Ron's like a 5-year-old kid that doesn't know.
I thought maybe he got confused on how he was a captain.
Oh no.
Decided,
No?
captain. I don't know.
That's not it.
No, because Malcolm Reynolds, ruthless guy, he got a soft spot, but he's been shown to be more of a darker, sick guy, vigilante, kind of thing.
Sure.
He has stabbed people and shot people and killed people.
As you do.
Sold people for money and stolen medical supplies. He's done some bad things. I think he's got more of a bad streak in him, so I'm going with Malcolm Reynolds. Oh, plus he's got the tactics because he was in the war.
Yeah, he was a
He fought
military
the Purple
person.
Belt. So
Right.
he knows tactics and how to kill things and people. So I'm going with it.
Mulder is part of the FBI, though.
I was
so
gonna
he
say,
was-
he's got that that
He was
training
trained
there.
by the government.
Well, as I said, I don't know shit about X-Files. Fuck Fox. And let's go with Malcolm Reynolds.
All right, Ron. Which way do you go?
Well, before the witch, the witch hunt, I actually do agree with Drew and say that Reynolds would win, only because, the way you had described the scene, Mulder had just been abducted, so he doesn't know he's disoriented. He doesn't know what's going on. Reynolds is already tactically advanced in the situation as to what's going on. He knows what's on the ship. He's going after this and that. He knows he's going to be dispatching.
Chris, I feel like you're seeing.
I put some bias there.
I think you did.
I did not mean to. All right.
So we'll
evaluating.
No, we'll say that.
I mean, even okay. Let's say Reynolds had just come to Earth and it was just a fist fight between the two. I would still say Reynolds because he's more
quite dirty. Yeah,
he's more of a badass.
Let's see who else wants to weigh in on this one. Tucci, I'm dying to hear.
So guy A fights guy B. Who wins?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll admit I didn't know that Fox Mulder was FBI, so that information did help me. But as far as I'm concerned, fuck the No, I'm just kidding. So as far as I'm concerned, though, like I'm pretty convinced that Malcolm Reynolds would win that fight. Again, because of his military experience, his readiness in the current situation. So, I mean, they basically took everything I could say since I'm already on Malcolm's side.
Okay, well,
and Firefly was a way better show than X-Files. So,
yay!
Dun dun.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a tough. Well, I don't know. I think it's unfair to match those two together as far as the shows go, at least. Ethan, what about you, man? I think you're probably one of the only other people who's actually seen more of X-Files than...
Right. And, Mulder does have training and aliens are Mulder's element, so he'd probably, wake up and be like, hey...
The truth is out there!
And he'd be all adrenaline jacked.
I'm in the truth.
I'm in the truth.
But again, Malcolm fights dirty, and he's got some mad dumb luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I hate to say it. Well, no, I don't hate to say it. Captain Mal, definitely. Do you stand alone, Wes?
No, you know what? It was the luck of the draw. It was the luck of the draw. Some of the matchups were bound to be pretty unfair.
Fair.
That being said, I really want to.
You really want to believe?
I want to believe, but I just don't think I do.
Go against the grain. Go with your heart, buddy.
No, I mean,
go with your heart.
I know. Well, yeah. No.
Right, wait, Wes. On the count of three.
Wes.
On the count of three. Fox or Malcolm? 1, 2, 3.
Malcolm.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So is that unanimous then?
I think that is. So you know what? I think in a special.
Should we re-roll?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna have to take a mulligan on that one, and let's do another matchup.
On tonight's episode of One-Sided Fights.
Yeah, for real.
It's like a professional boxer fighting a cripple. I mean,
yeah.
That's terrible.
Oh man. Okay, I need 2 more D20 rolls.
5 and 16.
Oh shit! I'm trying to make sure this isn't gonna be extremely biased, but it could. I don't know. Our first matchup was MacGyver versus Frodo, so that was pretty, So, okay, so the next matchup for tonight is Jean-Luc Picard versus Han Solo.
Oh!
Yeah, see, I don't know. This one might be...
Another captain versus captain, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Chris, do you feel more confident setting the scene this time? Or does
No, I got you, fam.
You got it? Okay.
Got you.
Remember, even playing field, okay?
All right.
Yep.
Captain's log. Starting
yes.
482.630.
I'm already rock hard.
We've come across a small freighter in the Valerian sector. They refuse to respond to our hails. At that moment, Chewie comes on the line. Their translators just for some reason won't kick in, and they can't understand him. But then Han Solo kicks on, and he's trying to make up some bullshit excuse on why he's got 100 tons of dilithium ore that he's smuggling that the Enterprise was able to catch the sense through their sensors.
Everything's fine here. How are you?
Yeah. And so now we're at the question: is it Jean-Luc Picard captaining the Enterprise versus Han Solo piloting and captaining the Millennium Falcon, or the people? Because I think the people would be pretty evenly matched. So we got to go ship versus ship.
12 parsecs. Come on, 12 parsecs. You don't beat 12 parsecs.
That's fair. You do a little both.
We'll expand this at a later time as far as like ships and whatnot. But for right now, it's just the people. Captain versus captain.
Oh my gosh.
So, who wants to take this one?
I'll jump in. Captain Picard, he is a trained Starfleet officer, a captain in the Federation. He not only has intelligence of the 23rd century. He's got the tactics. He's got the war gear. I mean, a phaser can do everything from stun to vaporize. If we put them on a planet, I don't know. I love Star Wars, but I feel I'm leaning more towards Captain Picard on this one.
Disagree.
A challenger has appeared. Go ahead, Ron.
Disagree hard.
All right.
I disagree because of the point that you brought up. He is a part of the Federation, so he has a sense of morality. He has a sense of humanity. He has a sense of bringing this smuggler to justice, whereas Han, he doesn't. He's going to shoot first. He's going to be like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I got to make my shipment. Otherwise, I'm going to get frozen in carbonate, possibly.
Oh, that's fine.
That's an excellent point.
At that point, then it's self-defense, and then Picard would employ whatever tactics he needed to do to take down his foe.
But he's going to use tactics. He's going to use tactics, and he's going to use what he knows. Whereas Han's going to fly off the cuff, and he's going to also fight dirty. He always has, and he always will.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you won't be... Part of the tactics is being able to adapt to your enemy and adapt to your, to the situation at hand.
Well, look at Star Trek. Like, they always start out with the good intentions, and something always goes wrong. Han has that blind luck. He always has that blind luck. So
I was actually going to mention that his luck rolls are fucking high as hell. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. Until he meets his son.
Now see what shit about Han Solo versus
Damn.
I'm sorry. I couldn't not throw that in there.
Savage.
Ouch. Ouch.
But in this case, clearly he hasn't met his son, so
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Who else? Who else wants to jump in on this?
Drew?
Yeah, I'm with Ron on this one.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
It's because we're a couple. We have a connection.
They're a power couple. Yeah.
That's right. No, but yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Han's gonna go in and be dirty, and he's gonna be shoot first, ask later. Whereas Jean-Luc's gonna go in and be like, "Hey man, whoa, what you doing, buddy?"
It's not gonna be like it's gonna be Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
It's gonna be Mr.
You have this,
and he's gonna get shot.
He's gonna be like, "Let me play my piccolo for you."
Oh my god! First of all, not a piccolo.
Yeah, piccolo.
Whatever.
Anyway. No,
Okay.
he would understand the risks and be prepared as per the instructions of the Federation. You should always be prepared. They're like the Boy Scouts. Right? So yeah, diplomacy is gonna be first, but when shit hits the fan, it's gonna be take cover and he phasers the stun at first, and if he doesn't go down then it's shoot to kill.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that blind luck that Han has, like Ron was.
And I'll give you that one. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
He's got
Han
that.
is
He's
the
got
fan.
that. He's got that instant cool factor too.
Well, see, okay, hold on. The thing with Picard is that as far as time goes, Star Wars is in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, whereas Star Trek is the distant future. So presumably Picard's level of technology and the access to gadgets that he has is going to far outweigh just about anything that Han could bring to the table in that category. I think.
Okay, you're talking technology though. But
well, yeah. No, that's part of it though. That's part of it. Like, the
How can you prove that though? I mean,
Wow.
Well, this is all hypothetical.
This is all hypothetical.
There is no
I know. There is, but I'm just saying the same thing in Star Wars. The stormtroopers could sit their blasters to stun as well. So I mean,
well, stormtroopers can't hit shit.
Well, they can't hit shit.
So,
they can when they switch to stun.
Yeah, unless it's on stun. That's the only
It's
time.
the one time they actually hit their target.
And Han Solo does have a high accuracy rating, so.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like I was trying to say, like Chris was talking about shit hitting the fan. Han is the fan. He's used to having shit hit him, so he
is the R. Kelly of shit.
Oh man!
Oh wow, that escalates.
Wow, that would throw R. Kelly into this mix somehow.
Was that
like
too
you
far?
want to talk military tactics about talking like adapting and overcoming? Han is way above Picard.
And actually, based on the technology, I want to bring one thing up. So, at this time that they are meeting, which doesn't really make sense timeline, like we're gonna let it slide anyway, and just say like relatively the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't make sense that you would say that like Jean-Luc Picard's technology would be any further than Han Solo's, because Han Solo had more time to be around. Like, if he didn't get killed by his son, like, and somehow managed to live that period of time, like,
no, listen, man. The logistics are not going to make sense either way we look at it. So,
well, yeah, to be realistic, the Star Trek fandom, they go back in time a lot. There's a lot of time travel in Star Trek. It could be Picard.
See, I'm not really a Star Trek person. I never really.
No, I was actually about to bring that up because there was a movie where Kirk, they actually go back in time and meet Roddenberry, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
They meet Gene Roddenberry and give him the idea to start writing the books.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of a goofy episode. I forget which series it is. If that was the original, like with Kirk, or if it was because like I said, go ahead.
It was Kirk. Maybe it wasn't a movie. Maybe it was one of the actual TV series.
I think it was one of the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. So
on went.
Ethan, we haven't heard from you.
Well, hi.
Hi.
Hello. So anyways, yeah, Picard would totally start with diplomacy like you guys said, and then of course Han would totally start with his version of diplomacy, by which I mean bullshitting. And then Picard would probably get all like official for like trying to take him down. He wouldn't just be like, hi, bang, I'm gonna shoot you in the fucking face.
Yeah.
He would set phasers to stun first and would probably try to arrest or detain Han, and Han would have already shot him under the table.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
I think if, you dropped them both in a ring with wearing nothing but boxer shorts and no weapons, they would probably beat the shit out of each other for a good number of rounds. But if we're talking, their personalities and whatnot, yeah, I think Han would have not wasted the time with Picard.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. As far as my own take goes, we'd have to make this really complicated and say that the Enterprise traveled back in time to Star Wars era or vice versa, but most likely it would be that. And so they would bring with them all the knowledge of would you say the 23rd, 24th century?
I believe it's technically the 23rd century of our timeline.
Yeah. And to bring all that knowledge and technology back. But all in all, I would have to give it to Han Solo. Hands down, really.
Can I preface this with that I love Star Wars and I love Han Solo and all that, but I've really been on the Star Trek kick the last 3 months. So
you don't want any hate mail.
I do not want it to go to your inbox.
If it was Captain Lorca, I'd be a little more worried.
Yeah, you're gonna get a whole bunch of emails saying you guys are wrong because of this, and it's like, all right, chill. We know.
We know we're wrong.
Then I would send them a picture of Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds and just him screaming nerd.
Nerd. Okay, so any final thoughts before we throw the flag up here?
Han for life.
Okay. All right.
We should have done Han versus Malcolm. That's my thought.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, see?
We'll save that for the next die roll.
No, I was gonna say no. We get all the winners and have a tournament.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So far we've got.
I'll write them down.
Yeah. So far we have MacGyver, Malcolm Reynolds, and Han Solo.
Okay.
This movie to be made.
Yeah, we'll do it tournament style. That's cool. The winners of Versus this time around are Malcolm Reynolds and Han Solo. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Do you like role-playing games? How about podcasts? How about a podcast about a role-playing game? Check out our friends at Tomorrow's End, a podcast that follows a role-playing group as they navigate through a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Alright, enough fucking words. Here's the trailer.
How did humanity get here? I just can't remember. The rest of the world didn't know why the end had come. They'd heard on the radio about an attack on the States by either Russia or China over dwindling resources. What we knew was that the world was going to end, and a crazy man named Morrow had a plan to save the world. Many teams were frozen in vaults deep underground, safely tucked away from all the bombs and nukes flying, and the asteroid that would finally end everything. They were supposed to wake up 25 years later and help pick up the pieces, but something went wrong, and everyone woke up a lot later, if they woke up at all. Cultists, criminals, madmen, they've been living and thriving through the radiation and destruction the entire time. Some good people also survived. They held on to hope by spreading stories about tomorrow's end.
And we're back. So for this segment, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Chris so he can present to us and all of you Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Take it away, buddy.
All right. So, as many of our viewers are probably
listeners
aware, or yeah, listeners, thank you. That's what happens when you watch a shit ton of YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
So, many of you probably have at some point role played with the Dungeons & Dragons setting, and some of you may not have. A great source to kind of start with would be just going online, looking at different Wikipedia pages, or even Dungeons & Dragons Beyond. You can Google it and pop that up. And that's kind of a digital resource for all the latest things with 5th edition. So 5th edition, again, is the newest setting, or the newest iteration of the role-playing system from Wizards of the Coast. The previous edition to this, 4th edition, was more of a board game than a role-playing game, and that was a lot of gripes that some people had. I don't know if some of you here in our studio have ever played 4th edition, or really any kind of Dungeons & Dragons. I know a few of you have.
No, I've never started playing that since 1983.
I don't know. Yeah, I played all of them up until 5th edition. I have no idea what 5th edition's about.
Sure.
Same.
3rd edition sucks.
I played Pathfinder.
No, 3rd was good.
Nerd.
Third left. No, he's right. 3rd led to Pathfinder, which some would argue is probably like the D&D killer. So
Pathfinder.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, I love Pathfinder.
Yeah, me too. 4th edition can I don't know. They can bite the big one there. I didn't really like 4th at all.
I kind of liked 4th edition. I guess I'm a big loser.
Well, you know,
I like 4th too.
Yeah, 4th had its a great combat system.
It was all video gamey though. Oh yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
And for people like us who are very story driven and like that, unless you had a good DM who could throw that stuff in, it was really just disjointing between, you'd have a good role play session with everyone at the table, and then all of a sudden you're jumping to, like I said, a board game to do all your combat.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest gripe that people have. 5th edition kind of goes back to the roots of D&D. So, you know, it's more akin to 3rd edition in some lights, where they brought back a lot of classic spells and how abstract combat can be. They still employ the whole battle grid, and you can use the miniatures and really do things kind of tactically that way. But what is great about 5th edition is it simplifies a lot of things to the better. So instead of like in 5th edition, 3rd edition, 3.5, and even Pathfinder, where you have a million different books that you can go through to try to make your character and have to know basic trigonometry to be able to get your roll set up. The big thing with 5th edition is they wanted, you know, fast fun. So, you know, it's a D20 system, you know, so you use a 20-sided die. And to do a particular type of check or ability, you add a couple numbers together, you roll your 20-sided die, you add them up, and if you beat the target number, you succeed. If you don't, you fail. And one of the other kind of interesting things they added to it is, instead of adding or subtracting even more numbers on top of that, they give you something called advantage or disadvantage. So having advantage means you roll 2 20-sided dice and you take the highest out of those 2 on whatever you roll. And then so it's, you could potentially, you know, you could roll 1, but you could also roll a 20 or an 18, and you get to take the higher one. You know, if you cornered an enemy in some fashion, you know, you have advantage on them. Or like a rogue with backstab, if you are concealed from an enemy, you have advantage on them. And the same goes for disadvantage, but the reverse. So you roll 2 20-sided die and you take the lowest. You know? So things can give you disadvantage. Certain abilities can give you disadvantage or advantage as you level up with your character. Like the barbarian has, you know, you do 4 or 5 points of extra damage to an enemy, but you have disadvantage on you versus other enemies.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's really kind of like loose and free, and the game really encourages you as a DM to work with your players, and you know, if they are able to do the rule of cool, you know, that was a cool idea. Here's, you know, you have advantage on this next roll. You know, you're able to woo the queen, and now you have advantage to your diplomacy check. Or, you know, you described how you would tumble across the tightrope. So, you know what? You have advantage that way.
So, real quick, Chris, you mentioned when you roll and you have advantage, how you can take the highest. Is that then suggesting that if you have advantage, that you can't critically fail a roll? You know what I mean? Because if you roll a 1 on 1 dice and then you're automatically going to take something higher, does that mean you'd have to roll 1 on both dice to actually fail?
Correct, yeah. So
okay.
To critically fail. You could still fail the check.
Well, like that's what I meant. Sorry, critically. Yeah. Like, you know, when we talk about rolling a 1, that to pretty much everyone here, that means that something bad's going to happen to you.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, it definitely is harder to critically fail when you have advantage. But think about if you have disadvantage, you could roll a natural 20 and a 1, and you have to take that 1.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's that risk-reward kind of thing.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
The other thing I also really like, to kind of also simplify the game more, is in previous editions when you leveled up, you would get a feat, so a special ability, and that would then could spiral into other feats you would get, and you'd have to micromanage a million things. They give you that option to still do that in the core game. But right off the bat, when you would level up, you just go off of your class and whatever abilities go with that class and different features that you pick, because there's a bunch of different features, which I'll get to in a second here. But when you get to a certain level, you're like, hey, you know what? Either I could pick a feat, or I can just raise 2 attributes. So I could make my strength and dexterity +1. Or you could just say, you know what, I really just want a barbarian, and I want to focus on hitting hard. So you could just say, I just want to level up my strength this turn, or this level, and you get a +2 to that, right? So it's kind of like you could spread out your points a little more as you level up, or you could just hyper focus into something until you get to the max, which they do cap at 20. Through that type of progression, there's other magical items and other circumstances that can raise your attributes above 20.
Yeah.
That reminds me so much of Divinity Original Sins 2 and how that game plays.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask. I'll try to answer them as best I can. So let me crack open the book here, because I actually have the player's handbook. And that was another thing I really liked, is all you really need to play this game is dice and the player's handbook. Like, everything you really need right now is just in one book. You don't have to get...
No monster manual, no...
Yeah, you don't have to have that. You don't even have to have the DM's guide, because they have a section in the back of the player's handbook for DMs. The DM's guide is just kind of the extra, if you want to go really above and beyond different things.
If I could say that,
sure.
This is actually one of the things that I love most about 5th edition.
Yeah.
It's making it so user friendly that literally anybody who's never even heard of D&D can play.
Oh yeah.
Like I've played 5th edition a few times with people who have never even heard of D&D, and they were so into it and loving it because of how, I mean, it almost sounds mean to say that it's so simplified, but they're doing it on purpose to make it user friendly.
Definitely. That was one thing I really liked about everything leading up to when 5th edition launched a couple of years ago. They took all the feedback that they got from players and DMs and other people, and they did probably 24 beta test versions of the game that they freely dispersed out to people.
Huh, that's cool.
And said, look, play the game. Here's what we have so far. Here's what we think a cleric could be. Here's what a ranger would be. And tell us what you think. And after, I think it was every 2 weeks, they sent out a survey and said, well, what did you think about this? What did you think about that? And, the players, the community really made 5th edition what it is.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I love so much about it.
For sure. And I'll just quickly get into
Chris, before you go on,
yeah,
I hate rules.
You are allergic to rules.
Well, I don't like strict adherence to rules. I like being able to jump around. Is 5th edition pretty friendly to that, or is it going to be another thing where potentially people are going to have to stop and look up something before you continue? Like, you know what I mean? Depending on how. Yeah. What's your take on that so far, as from what you can tell?
So, really, it just depends on how much you write down at the beginning when you make your character, right? Because I will say there are still a lot of options for things to make stuff, but it's not to the point of I need to bring 7 books to my gaming table because I took 2 feats out of this book, I took 1 feat out of this one. It's more like, okay, well, I want to make a character. I want to make a gnome. All right, well, you have 2 different 2 different races of gnomes, a forest gnome and a rock gnome, and they have their different abilities. And it's all on one page right here. Boom, that's it. You want to make a gnome, let's say a gnome bard. All right, well, you get kind of like the basic package of things. And what's nice is that they say, oh, well, you know what? You could either just pick, if you want to make a character right now, here's kind of the starting boom. If you took these ones, you'd be set. Like these spells, these abilities, these weapons, done. I'd say the only thing that you would really have to look in the book for would be spells. And that's kind of common with a lot of things. Combat is, like I said, it's really to the point, and they really encourage kind of free form fighting.
Awesome.
And free form combat, where other games are very like, it affects this area, it affects this, and as long as you know how big roughly in your brain 5 feet is, that is probably the only thing I would think that could get someone hung up and have to look in the book is like, okay, well, if we're playing on a battle grid, how big is this spell? Oh, it's 20 feet. Okay, boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, go ahead and continue. You were going to talk about races.
Yeah, so they have kind of their standard array of D&D races, gnome, dwarf, elf. They have a couple other newer ones, like Dragonborn, Tiefling. Those were kind of introduced as player characters in 4th edition. So a Dragonborn is obviously a humanoid dragon man. And then Tiefling, for those who might not know, are like a similar thing, but instead of a dragon and a human coming together, it's more like a devil and a human coming together in some kind of infernal pact.
Demon fucking.
Yeah, that's my kink.
Oh boy.
But what I really like is the fact that each race has kind of standard abilities that are just built around that race. For instance, elves, they automatically get a +2 to their dexterity score. So obviously they're very quick and nimble creatures, but they have different sub-races. You have a high elf who's more of a keen mind, a mastery of magic, versus a wood elf who would be more like your standard ranger, outdoorsy kind of feel. Kind of like the elves from the first Hobbit movie. Not the high elves, but I'm blanking right now. If someone could help me.
What elves?
Yeah, I guess that would just be
Drow.
elves, wouldn't it? No, but Drow are also in here, and they have their own different abilities. Same with, like I said, halflings, gnomes, and all that. You have options, so you can kind of tailor your character the way that you want to play something.
Yeah,
which is nice instead of those differences just being aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like,
I'm a high elf, I'm a gray elf, it doesn't matter. You're an elf, here's your rules.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of frustrating when you want to be unique. You're a hero. Or a villain, depending on the type of game.
Right. Just another reason to love this game, the variety.
Definitely. And like you were saying, it's the simplistic variety. It's not like anything is really complicated in this book,
But it's not over simple like 4th edition.
Exactly.
Where even though every character was labeled different, they were basically the same thing.
Yeah. It was
even fighters had basically a spell-like ability almost.
Yep. And then the wizard had essentially the same thing as the fighter, but it used a different attribute, or it did a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
Right. But it pretty much took, instead of giving them different abilities that equaled them out, they were just cookie cutter across the board.
Definitely, yeah.
Tucci, did you ever play 4th edition?
No, honestly, like the only form, I guess, of D&D you could say I played is Alternity and Pathfinder.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I love Pathfinder, but I like it for different reasons. I like it for the crunchiness of it, like coming up with the combos to make my ultimate character. But sometimes I just want to make a dude in like a half hour and feel good about it.
I don't even want to spend that long on it.
Yeah, right. Going to the classes, this is kind of where this edition really shines in a lot of ways. So each class has its own unique abilities. What kind of hit die it has for health points, how it levels up, what kind of armors and weapons it is able to use, types of tools. That's something they kind of introduced into this game, is different tools and to help with the role play aspect of things. But as you level up, you have already kind of, I don't want to say pre-planned abilities, because there's certain things that are just standard as you level up that you're automatically going to get no matter what. But what's interesting is, I'll use the Barbarian as an example. Actually, because I just helped Nick, who's not here tonight. He's
in a gravy coma.
Game. Yeah, he's in a gravy coma. He is going to be in a 5th edition game coming up here, and he asked if I would help him make a character because he doesn't own any of the books. But as a barbarian, as example, the different primal paths that you can follow. So, a barbarian, they get angry at things and they smash stuff with an axe or a hammer. But how to kind of change that up is they have different primal paths. One being the berserker, which kind of really focuses down that rage-filled path, giving you different abilities at different levels and kind of allowing you to do things like extra attacks or soaking a crap ton of damage. Whereas the other one is the totem warrior. For instance, like at 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you choose a totem spirit and gain its features. So instead of being the rage-filled barbarian, you're more, I'm the bear walker or I'm the wolf hunter. So you kind of use that to your roleplay advantage and gaining abilities to go with it. So it gives you a way to be unique while having, you can have 2 bards in the same game, 2 different bard players, but they could play completely different ways.
Well, that's good. Oh, I don't think there was a single D&D campaign that I've been in where there wasn't at least like 2 fighters, or and at that point it's like being a fighter on paper, at least in the previous editions, is pretty straightforward. It's pretty boring, actually, and being able to, I can see the appeal to being able to differentiate yourself through the different, would you call them paths, or is that just barbarian?
They're all essentially they're all the same thing, but that's specifically the barbarian. Like the fighter one is different fighting styles.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just something you pick from the beginning. So you could be like an archer. You could focus mainly on defense, dueling. So you get benefits depending on the types of weapons you use. But their sort of thing is called martial archetypes. And, again, they get different bonuses for different things, depending on which way they go for that. And to kind of piggyback on that, what I love about what Wizards of the Coast is doing is since 5th edition launch, they've been doing things known as Unearthed Arcana. And what these are kind of add-ons to each class. So I think so far every class has gotten 1 to 2 more archetypes or paths or whatever that they could go down.
Chris, at least from the 5th edition versions, what is your preferred class? What one sticks out to you?
Ooh, this was a question I was going to ask. I
figured I'd jump the gun there.
Hey, that's fine. Me personally, I don't know. I'm the kind of player that tends to fill a role instead of picking something. So I tend to let the rest of the group pick what they want to be, and then I'll fill whatever role. So I like every single one of these classes. Everything is unique enough that it's varied and it's different, and you can add whatever kind of personality you want into these types of characters, and it won't feel like it's being too disjointed.
Yeah.
You could play the happy-go-lucky rogue that, is a dungeoneer for hire, but you could also play the sneaky assassin-type rogue and throw that kind of role-play mentality into it.
Good deal.
So what about you guys? What's your favorite class to play?
Well, I know when I played 5th edition, I was a Dragonborn Barbarian.
Ooh.
I think I went with the Warlord, like the Warlord subclass.
Okay.
So much fun to play. Because especially with Dragonborn itself, in 5th edition, you have so many different options right then and there. Because, is it like ice, fire, acid, as far as your breath goes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you can be a different color of dragon, yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool. And, I think before it was just like, oh, you can breathe fire and that's it.
Right.
So, Warrior or Barbarian has always been my favorite class.
Okay.
I'll chime in here. I have been purposely trying to branch out and try different classes because those of you who've played with me in the past know I pretty much stick to one class the entire time. And that's a rogue or a thief or any of those type of archetypes. I did play a wizard in 2nd edition and 2nd edition D&D anyway, and I fell in love with it because the DM who was running our game kept tempting me with this incredible amount of power and influence, and I kept not using it. So
it was so great because
it was almost a little embarrassing at times because he kept giving me all this stuff and making me super powerful, and I kept not taking advantage of it, which was the coolest feeling in the world, to be that powerful and know that you could, but you don't. So it was that was probably one of my most favorite games that I've been in, but any other campaign has I've usually been some type of sneaky, shadowy, stealthy, stabby type person. So I'm anxious to see in 5th edition how that type of stuff can play out. I mean, when we play, I'm gonna probably be a rogue. So
it's fine. All right, what about the rest of you?
I've always been impartial cleric.
The cleric?
The cleric, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, when I started playing, I was always the hack and slash fighter. I'm just here to F shit up kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then as the group I was playing with, as we kept going, that's what everybody kept doing. We kept dying and dying and dying. So finally I was just like, you know what? I'll go the cleric route. And you get a couple of spells, you'll do some fighting stuff, but then you can heal. And I actually like it more because they expanded what I can do. Like, you know, you get to play with some of the cool spell stuff.
Definitely
making potions, kind of deal. That kind of stuff. And it intrigued me, and it's been kind of fun ever since.
Yeah, I do like playing clerics because like you were saying, it gives you the ability to. You can be that front line, you know, beat stick guy, but you still have the ability to keep yourself up, keep your party up. And one thing I really like about 5th edition is they've basically opened up every class to any religion. So before, it was like, a good example is the paladin. Like, you always had to be a lawful good paladin. Now you could be an evil paladin. You're just a champion for your god, regardless of you know, what deity it might be. So you could be like a lawful evil paladin, like the
About
Black
time.
Knight. Yeah, right?
About time. Oh, man, okay.
Well, and I like the concept that it's not just lawful good paladin, chaotic evil paladin, because you always had your blackguard or anti-paladin.
Yeah.
That was a nemesis, but now if you can do, I'm a lawful neutral paladin.
Yeah, like the judge.
Okay.
Yeah, you can literally be Judge Dredd.
Right.
I love that
That's
idea.
all.
That's a cool idea, character, guys. I'm just saying.
Dibs.
Shit. All right.
Which class is it in 5th edition that you can have familiars? Is it druids?
Rangers. Rangers are companion.
Yeah.
Wizards are familiars.
Yeah, so you could have, and really that's kind of up to your DM too, because you could be like, well, any class could have a familiar, but I think built into it, I believe Rangers have the ability to have a pet.
Based on that, which class is it where you can actually turn yourself into an animal?
Oh, that was a druid.
Okay, so I was kind of right. Semi off topic. I had a group that I was playing with 5th edition in Grand Rapids, and this girl really wanted to have a corgi familiar. but she also wanted to turn herself into a corgi. So there was just 2 fucking corgis following us everywhere.
Oh, that's great. Terrifying.
Battle corgis.
Yes.
Peaches!
that sounds sweet.
So Ethan, you were talking last. What's your preferred class?
If I'm going in blindly, like I would be with 5th edition, I would have to go to my standby, which is always either like a wood elf or a gray elf ranger.
Okay.
Usually chaotic neutral, chaotic good.
Good deal. Tucci, man, I think you're the last one. What about you?
I think I am. So I've pretty much always played like punch you in the face type characters, I guess.
Okay.
I've never really played like one that really plays from a range. I almost did in the most recent campaign that fell apart because people have lives or something. Fuck, dude,
Damn us.
I don't understand it. Like,
Life.
It's so easy to be single. Why not just stay it for the rest of your life? No, I'm kidding. But you know, I don't know. I got to try out a what was it called? It was a holy necromancer, a white necromancer, maybe.
Interesting.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a homebrew that we found, and we were giving it a shot. And it was actually really fun. The like one time I got to actually play that character because I went from druid into that class, and based on some of the stuff that happened in the story and some of my wants and different stuff, my DM and I worked together to kind of fit it in the story, and it seemed like a lot of fun to play something like a caster sort of role. You know, I probably, looking at the different classes that they have in here, I'd either give sorcerer or wizard a try in this round, this go.
Okay, sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely have a lot of options going sorcerer or wizard. You know, and what's kind of neat about spellcasters is they give you more flexibility with things. So a lot of the spellcaster type classes, they have spell slots instead of just like, oh, well, you memorized these 3 spells, so that's all you get to cast.
Yeah.
So you still have to memorize a section of spells, but certain powers actually do more damage or have a bigger ability depending on the level of spell slot you have. So, you know, you could cast Magic Missile, which is a really, you know, tiny spell. But
typically a benign spell, yeah.
Yeah, you know, or another one would be like Flame of Hands or Hand of Flame or whatever it's called. It's just a first level wizard spell.
Sure.
But if you cast that at a 9th level spell slot, it does, you know, 10 times more damage than what it normally would. You know, but that's a higher level play. I mean, that's
sure.
You're starting to get into like level 18, 19. 20 being the max for this game.
Right.
One of the big things, like, I don't know how much time we really do have left, Wes.
About 10-15 minutes, if we could.
Okay. So I'll kind of skim through one of the sections that I really love, and everything else is just kind of extra after that. But it's the personality and background section.
Okay.
Oh,
so
love it.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they already have an idea for their character, right?
Is it randomized?
It can be.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a D6 table, isn't it?
D8 to D6. It just depends on the type of thing. So they have a couple different sections. You know, one is inspiration. So inspiration is a rule that a DM can use to reward you for playing your character well. You know, inspiration can let you call on your bond to defend the home. Let's see. If you have inspiration, you can expend it when you make an attack roll, saving throw, whatever. Spending your inspiration gives you advantage on that roll. So let's say you role play your character well. You know, I could say, oh, you have inspiration. So it's like just a free way to boost your character up. That's just kind of an extra rule. But the backgrounds are what's really interesting. So there's probably, I don't know, a dozen different backgrounds you can pick. Anything from an acolyte, a charlatan, you could be a criminal background, entertainer, a folk hero. And with each one of these, they've got a couple different, each one has a personality trait, an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. So we'll use the folk hero, for instance. So you pick the background, and you automatically gain proficiencies with both things. Animal handling and survival. Because you live off the land, and you're just like the town's hero, right? So you're probably a farmer, or used to be a farmer. You also gain proficiency in an artisan tool. So you could have been the blacksmith. You could have been the the leather worker of the town. So what was your defining moment? And they have a D10 list here on like what made you into the hero you were, or are, I should say. So for one of them could be, you led a militia to fight off an invading army. The guard was the captain of the guard was killed, and you took up the arms and basically rallied everyone to fend off the invading goblins. Just to kind of give you an idea with that. But then it goes down to the personality traits. If you didn't already have something in mind, for instance, personality trait might be, if someone is in trouble, I'm always ready to lend help.
Or number 7. Number 7's pretty funny.
I misuse long words in an attempt to sound smarter.
That'd be fun to play.
Yeah.
So me on a daily basis.
Yeah. And then it just keeps going on. Like, and you could roll this randomly, but let's say you rolled a 3, and that's freedom. That's kind of they're based off of the alignments. So that's kind of a chaotic, alignment. Tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. So that's just kind of an ideal you have. If something like that happens in the world, you're going to do what you can to try to stop that. But the flaws are always really fun. Let's see. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 6.
6.
I have trouble trusting in my allies. So that's kind of a, maybe you think you're better than everybody, or you're a lone wolf. Yeah, you're a lone wolf. Another one could be, I have a weakness for the vices of the city, especially hard drink.
Ooh.
You're a farm boy. You get to the city, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get whores and booze.
Booze it up.
Booze it up.
So that's what, all of us?
Yeah, right. That's all of us. And like I said, every single one of these backgrounds has something along those lines, like a hermit, a noble, outlander. You could have been a sage in your previous, before you started adventuring, a sailor. You could have been a pirate. That's a variant of the sailor, and then you just kind of, you have bad reputation because people realize that you're a pirate, and people don't like pirates.
And that's just another reason to like this game, and that's what makes it more user-friendly, because for those who have never played it, it makes their whole role-playing experience that much better. It gives them something to work off of.
Right, because back in the day, we used to have to make all that stuff up ourselves, and if we didn't have a good idea for something original like that, then we were like back to one of the basic 7 classes, going, yep, I'm a fighter, look at me.
Yeah, I hit things with my sword.
Yeah.
I came from
I have no backstory.
I'm big and burly, that's it.
Right.
So Chris, as we're wrapping this up, do you want to can you explain a little bit about the website that you sent us to?
Yes. So dndbeyond.com. That is done by Wizards of the Coast. So it is a free resource for players and DMs to it's got a rules compendium, and it goes through the basic rules, monster manual, dungeon manual, a dungeon master's guide, and all the books that they've come out with, as well as the different adventures that are on here. It's got the list of spells, magic items, equipment list, monsters, and it like I said, it is free. And it's got a character builder based into it as well. So you can, like everything we went through, you could build a character on this website. And it'll save it, and you can bring it up at any time. The free option allows you to have up to 6 characters. There is a subscription model with this at 2 different price points. So the lower tier is $2.99 a month. Or if you pay annually, it's $26, and you save like 25%. That's the hero tier. So that's mainly geared towards like players. It takes off the ads. It allows you to create unlimited characters. You can add publicly shared homebrew content with people, because you can make your own stuff on here as well. But then there's a DM tier, basically. And that allows a DM who has bought the books digitally through this website to share it with their players who may not have the books. So they can pick and choose things, or have the player's guide or the monster manual at hand. Yeah. And like I said, they allow you to buy all the content that they've come out with over the last couple years. You know, every single book, all the different adventures, and it's all available to you digitally on here. And what I like is it compiles everything together in one location.
Yeah, dude, I'm impressed with what I've been looking at so far.
I have to still go through like the campaign, because you can build a campaign through this as well. So you could build your own adventure in this.
Is there a loot crate system?
Too soon?
Yeah. Oh man.
One more resource right before we're done that I would push people to is a YouTube channel that I really like, and they're called WebDM.
Okay, I've heard of them.
So it's like WebMD but WebDM.
That's awesome.
And it's just two dudes who are just they pick a topic about Dungeons and Dragons or role playing in general and just discuss it. I think one of their latest ones was about alignment and how, it doesn't necessarily matter, but if you want it to matter, here's some cool examples on how you would want to, role play a lawful neutral person. And several other really cool, quirky episodes like, dungeons. Well, what if the whole dungeon was actually inside of a giant? So you're like a stone giant. So you're walking through these corridors, but it's his intestines, or you have to make your way to the brain to destroy the evil that's there. So like bacteria, you are the white cells in the body of this giant.
Interesting.
Right? So yeah, WebDM is the name of the YouTube channel.
Good deal.
But yeah, unless anyone's got any other questions, that's pretty much 5th edition D&D. I'd love to get a game going with everybody.
Tonight?
Yes.
Not tonight, no.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas.
I have 2 more cans of Jolt.
Yeah, right. But no, we'll do an episode 0, and we'll do character creation at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll figure out how to do the DM tier, and I'll be able to. We can all make accounts on this website and get some stuff going.
Definitely.
Dragonborn.
All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up. Damn, man, you got me excited to check more of this out.
Yeah, dude.
I honestly went into this kind of thinking that it might have been a little bit more convoluted than the last edition, but I'm glad that they decided to scale things back. That makes me very happy, because you know that I just want to enjoy the story and not have to worry about flipping through rule books and everything like that. So
for sure, yeah.
But yeah, everyone listening, thank you for making it this long with us. Yep, our next episode will be out December 16th. And yeah, so we will see you then. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you return for more.
More MILF money.
MILF money.
Get that MILF money while we're gone.
Okay.
So now you just gotta find the karaoke version of that song and have it in.
Oh God.
Yep. All right.
I will not.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.
I love you. Bye bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Basement Dwellers Podcast. Join us for our next episode as we present A Basement Dwellers Guide to Essential Anime.